Well, here we're on January 10th, 2024, work session, Meriwether County. Do I have a motion to go into work session? So moved. Motion second. Second. Got a motion to second. All in favor? Right now, work session.
Okay, thank you, sir. Chairman Commissioners, this is the second of the series of 3 work sessions, and we'll need many more before we solve all the issues we have here. But this one is to talk about staffing, to talk about options of retainage of employees, how to solve some of the just the vacancies that we have, and we've asked Blue's been involved in it. We've asked Valerie to kind of give us a report from HR's perspective, and John's got finance perspective toward this, and then we want to talk about some things we've come up with that might be options, see what you guys think would be favorable for us to explore further. And then also we'd like to have some feedback from all the board members about other things y'all would like to have us look at and come back with some solutions. So Blue, you got anything you wanted to say before we get started?
No.
Okay. Valerie, you want to start out?
Yes.
With just kind of give y'all a brief overview. I know you guys all know what HR does, but just some things that she does do and some numbers and how, really important it is for us. One of the biggest things I'll say going in is she protects all of us from, HR staff does from potential litigation. Some of the biggest issues you get into are personnel. So with that said, Valerie, you want to lead us off?
Yes. If you can't hear me, let me know. I'm not used to using the microphone. I'd like to say congratulations to our new chair and to our new vice chair. And I'd like to thank all of you for allowing us to have this work session. I'm really grateful that you're doing it. You've got 2 different documents from me. They're both in a memo format. The first one is just an overview of responsibilities of HR. I'm going to just leave this with you to read on your own if you're interested in reading it. But I would like to tell you there's two things that are really important for an HR director to do. And number one is to provide excellent customer service to employees. And I take that very seriously. If anybody needs anything at all, I go out of my way to help them. I always follow up with them if I don't have an immediate answer to let them know I'm still working on it. So that's really important. Your employees need to have someone in HR that they can trust. So that's something I take extremely seriously in my role. The other thing, and Theron has already touched on it, is to be a knowledgeable resource and advisor for the organization and to protect the organization in all legal aspects that pertain to HR. There's a lot of small things that I'm doing behind the scenes just to make sure we're in compliance. And, I'm reading things like an employee disciplinary action to make sure we're being consistent, to make sure there's nothing in it that could cause a potential legal concern if it ever turned into that. The responsibilities, and I'm just going to read the title of each one of them. Number 1, be a knowledgeable resource, advisor, and a good communicator. Number 2, provide legal protection. Number 3, hire and recruit high-quality candidates. Number 4, provide positive onboarding experience. Number 5, support engagement and retention efforts. Number 6, conduct performance evaluations. Number 7, provide ongoing training and development. Number 8, administer benefit and compensation programs and encourage health and wellness initiatives. Number 9, assist with workers' comp claims. Number 10, administer family medical leave and leave of absences. So that's just a quick overview of what an HR director does. I did not give you a copy of this, but I just wanted to mention some very brief statistics. We hired 93 employees during the year 2023. And we termed 82. So it's almost a wash, not quite, but we're almost losing as many as I'm bringing in. Currently, as of mid-December, we have 53 part-time employees and 158 full-time employees.
What was those numbers again?
53 and 158 are current, and that totals to 211 employees. That's as of December 12th. I think this is a very interesting statistics, and it's my last one. But we hired 31 employees during 2023 who also made the decision to leave in 2023. That's a really high number of hires that for whatever reason, they decided to leave or it just didn't work out for them. Yes. Yes, it does. Yeah, I'm not treating it differently here. If I was, calculating turnover, I might, but this is everybody voluntarily and non-voluntarily. And I know it seems sometimes like we're not hiring people in the different departments, but this past year I hired 21 people in one department, 21 employees, and I hired 20 in another. And in both of those departments, they lost really close to what I hired. In one of them, we hired 21 and we lost 15. The other one, we hired 20 and we lost 19. So clearly we need to do something to improve retention, which is why we're having this meeting and why I'm so grateful that you're giving us a chance to talk to you today.
Let me preface, I'm sorry, but a little bit of that is, you're exactly right. That's why we're having this meeting. So for one, I'm going to ask a ton of questions.
Okay.
This is what I do. It helps me learn, helps me think. It helps me figure out how to support you. And that is the intent of this meeting, is when no one at this table right now that I know of, there's no conversation of HR is not functioning like it should, not doing a good job, none of that's an issue. We want to understand what's happening within the HR world and what do we need to do to get you or the county more resources to be able to turn these numbers around. That's what this intent's for. So
Okay.
previous meetings, I guess sometimes when I ask questions, they get taken the wrong way. I want to clear that up first. I will be asking a lot of them. Some of them may not be very good answers or feel good answers when they come back, but it's only in a way to gauge what do we need then? What do you, if we're not doing some things I think we should be doing, well, my God, why are we not doing that? Then it's because, okay, you don't have the resources. We got to determine how to get that and get that done. So that's what the intent is. Sorry.
Okay.
My question, I was fixing that, when you said hired 20 and 19 left, are the 19 of the 20 we hired or was established employees?
It could be or not be to answer your question.
It was,
Yeah, I don't know.
19 was not all part of that 20. You had some.
Yeah, they're not all part of the 31.
Some people have been here a while.
I'm just curious, because you hired 20 and 19 left. If we hadn't hired 20, we would be completely empty.
No, sir. No, sir.
Those are a couple of your bigger departments, but yeah, but
Okay.
yeah, that retention is going to be an issue. We
Yes,
need to
yes.
work.
Okay, and the other memo from me is, it's going to contain recommendations. I want to just really briefly tell you what we're doing right now as far as the recruiting, hiring, and retention process. Once we have an opening, I talk to the hiring manager, and that's just going to be the department head, whoever has the opening. I get the job posted on the county's website. Since I've been here, I've started sending out an email announcement to our employees, which I think has the potential to be helpful because they may have a family member, they may know of somebody that they could refer. So that's why I always send out an email for openings. Openings are always posted on the bulletin board in this lobby out here. I typically post them on the ACCG Marketplace website and on the GLGPA website. Sometimes I'll have a hiring manager who just wants it on the county website. So I do ask them where they want it posted, and I make sure I send them candidates as soon as possible. Once I receive them, I'll receive an email alert if they apply via Indeed or if they apply directly on the county's website. So as soon as I know, I get the information to the hiring manager, to whoever has the opening.
The Indeed, I will say, has paid off. We have,
I came from Indeed.
came from Indeed.
These two came from Indeed.
Came from Indeed, so, so that's where they understood we had the opening, so.
Based off them too.
Well, I know that's coming. Yeah, I understand that.
Well, anyway, there's no cost to what I'm using Indeed for right now. They do offer payment plans and they'll charge you a pretty high fee for a resume. They'll send it to you for a position and you only have, I think it's 24 hours, it may be 48 to look at it and make a hiring decision. And if you're not interested and you tell them within that time period, they won't charge you. But if not, they're going to charge you. It seems like the last time I looked at it for whatever position it was going to be $47 per resume if I didn't get either proceed or get with them in time for them not to charge me. So there's a lot of risk with that because, getting in touch with a hiring manager, making sure that's someone they may or may not be interested in. So I have not pursued that, but that is offered. It's expensive, but it's offered. once a candidate is selected, excuse me, let me back up. Once an applicant, is invited in for an interview, and that's going to be based on whether or not they appear to have the qualifications, based on the job description, based on the job posting. Once the interview happens, the next step would be to do a standard criminal background check and a MVR record. Since I've been here, almost the whole time that I've been here, I've been involved in the background and MVR process. They're processed by our 911 call center personnel, but I look at every single one of them. And it has to have my approval before we do anything else with it. And if it's questionable, I'm going to talk to Theron about it. I would go to the county administrator, and if needed, and we've had to do this before, we would actually talk to the board about hiring decisions. So that's how that part's done. We do drug screens and physicals. One thing that I've changed since I've been here is if the person's in a professional or clerical type role, we aren't requiring them to do a physical exam. That's saving us a lot of money. And you really just need the physical exam for somebody who's going to be doing physical labor, like somebody in public works, like somebody at animal control, and it's required for 911 and anybody in the fire and rescue and public safety offices, because an affidavit has to be done for those positions. So that gives you a little idea of what we're currently doing.
Now, I'd also like to point out that among each of these steps are several dependencies. So if she is waiting, for example, on background check, and they are short-staffed or it takes a couple of days, that stops the entire process. If she has to get feedback from a department head, if they don't get back to her because they're certainly doing other stuff, that stops the process. So there are several dependencies in here that we have identified as areas of improvement, because we don't want her to have to wait on anybody else to do what she needs to do. So part of the reason that it may be slow might be because she's waiting on another piece of information. So I just wanted to put that out there.
And immediately it jumps off the page, this is more than one person. That's, we'll have to go any further and say, she's got to have an assistant or something. I mean, this,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
in my opinion, I'm not speaking for the entire board.
Yeah, we agree with you.
Once we extend an offer, I spend a good 30 to 45 minutes sitting down, helping them with their new hire paperwork. And I've done that with several of you. So you know that I go over the benefits. I make sure someone understands them. I think our retirement plan is really good. I spend a lot of time talking to employees about that, trying to encourage them to enroll in that. So it could be 30 to 45 minutes that I spend per new hire. And I have a little gift I've been giving them that's from the insurance brokers. And it's just a nice gesture. I meant to bring one in here to show you and I forgot. But then after that, they go to the hiring department. And that's when we also need to make changes, I think, and just make sure we're welcoming people, we're getting them the training they need, and making sure they feel like we want them to be here and like they matter to us. With that being said, now we're ready to look at the recommendations. I've got 4 different categories. The first one is really the most important. It's implementing a pay scale, and I'm going to turn that over to John because he has worked on that extensively. But that's something that I think has the potential to really improve retention.
Thank you, Valerie. Commissioners, my staff has worked probably the last week or so on this. So I appreciate my staff doing all the legwork, and I checked behind them to make sure everything was pretty accurate. What you have before you is a pay scale, and based off of the thing, if we create a pay scale, it's based off of the hourly positions that we currently have right now with their 2.5% merit. This will allow current and new employees to see the potential salary as they move up the steps on the pay grade line. The software we use will allow us to put a step and a grade in it, so we can track it. If anybody, department head, wants to know what your step is, we can tell them they're a 10G. So if they meet certain criteria, they can move up. This is a very rough draft.
You said these numbers reflect current right now.
Yes. Yeah, on
all that.
the third page, it starts, it gives you the department, their position, the current hourly salary with the 2.5% merit, the grade and step that we placed them on based off of the second page. And then the pay scale, what they would be making at that step and what the increase would need for them to be on that.
And part of what makes it work so well, commissioners, is that we are able to establish a grade and a step for each position. That's based on the work that it's done. So a grade 8 is going to be an entry level position, whereas a grade 20, 21, 22 is going to be more advanced level. And then within each of those grades are steps that they can promote to with a good performance review. So not only do we look at it by that, but we also look at it by the work that is being done. So that's what the first page is right here, are the proposed, again, this is a draft, proposed grades for each one of the employees. So when you flip over to page 2, you can tell that a 20 is, for example, jailer, IT, sergeant, staff, shift supervisor, communication sergeant, fleet maintenance supervisor, and deputy tax commissioner within the entire grade.
And this is not,
This is all Tennessee.
This is, says, we got to go back in and reclass, and
Yeah.
make sure every job description is current
Yes.
and.
Yeah.
this
Because
is not telling us where we are in this scale. This is.
Currently it is.
Like
currently, this is exactly all the positions we have listed in our system for everybody in the county.
page 1.
Yes, sir.
On the next pages, we don't, page 3, for example, the first one, animal control officer, current hourly salary, is that what we're currently paying
Yes, sir.
someone in that role?
Yes. All this is current accurate data as of,
We're saying that's
This
a
year.
grade 15, step A. And that pay scale is now,
they need to go to 1562, which means they would need a 76 increase to be put on the pay scale.
that pay scale is based off of what? Your pay scale justifying the increase is what? That's what I'm,
It'd be criteria that they would have to meet, we're not saying every single year they would move up a single step. They would have to meet, 2 performance evaluations, get a certification, get the education, and in order to move from step B to step C. It wouldn't be an automatic yearly increase.
I'm with you.
The concept of this thing, and I have actually worked with it before, is you go in and we've got numbers right now with people, but we'll have to go back in and classify based on duties, responsibilities, impact or decisions, whatever, and put everything into a grade. So like the grade 8 with entry level, well, the grade 8 would actually be a job that does not have a lot of duties. It'd be a minimum, minimum, not necessarily entry level, but minimum requirements in terms of performance in their job duties. So they would start there, and then the steps along the top are either based on longevity of being here, because you get a reclassification, re-step every year, or if you hire somebody in that already has a experience, you could put them at a higher step than just the entry level step. That way you can account for that. But what this does is it allows the employees to have what I call as a career path instead of just a job. Because right now, come in, you making X dollars. Well, you really don't know how to look 5 years down the road and see what I'm be making. With this, you would. But this does require a commitment on behalf of the board to address it on an annual basis. Worst thing you can do is adopt a pay scale, and then in year 2, you say, well, we can't afford that. You've got to make that commitment to go ahead and go forward. This was, and John, you may have changed the design on it, but the original concept was that it went from when you start out in your step 1, and time you get to the end of it, your salary would increase 50%. So if you come in making $20,000, when you got over here to I, you'd be making $30,000. That's the concept.
Stayed in the same role.
Right, stay the same role. Now, if you go up with responsibility, you jump into a higher step. And then with that, you would have, you still get a raise, but you would be able to, you'd come down and back some in the steps. So but it does require a commitment by the board on a regular basis. It also requires that we will do, as I think mentioned before, it requires that we'll have to have a good job description for everybody, which is something that we need
Yes.
to do anyway. It also would require that we have a positive evaluation of the people as well. That way, if you're not doing a good job, you're not going to get a step. You want to get a step, you got to do a good job and have a satisfactory performance evaluation. And
Because this one flaw in that, is if you don't have those job descriptions in a good, review process, you could have a grade A, recruit firefighter, making more for the same as a firefighter at level B.
that's right.
At some point,
Yeah.
which means they've never qualified enough for us to move them to firefighter. But they make as much money as a firefighter is approved. You have to have those things and make sure that don't happen.
To avoid adverse actions of cutting pay, we implemented this in Coweta, 5 years ago, that maybe. We took everybody where they were. We graded out what grade classification they should be in. And then rather than avoid having to cut the pay, we put them into the step that would match their pay grade, okay? So that if they were already out here at the very end of the scale, they only maybe had one more step left. And then from there, they were locked in. So you might have somebody that was higher grade making less, but they would eventually catch them. Another thing we did was this: in addition to the step increases, we periodically did cost of living adjustments. And when we did, we spread that across the entire scale. That keeps it current, keeps it normal. And you're talking about a 10-year scale here, so you can't just let it sit there for 10 years because inflation will catch up with you. So we applied that cost of living. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean.
That's right.
So you're different. Hey, y'all categorize it as grades. Are they automatically hired as grade 8, or can somebody come here that's well qualified, start off on a higher grade?
Yes, sir, they can.
And then
Well-
what happens with that before you go for?
Here's the deal with that.
But he's making more than me, which I'm not supposed to talk about. So.
Yeah.
They do.
Oh, they do.
Everybody does.
I tell my guys for years,
Yeah.
I'll give you a raise next Friday.
Everybody will
Get
know.
one,
Yeah.
they get that.
Right. Well, yeah. Well, here's what happens with that. You get somebody that's well qualified, but if you've got the job classified correctly, you shouldn't pay any more than what that job is worth. Okay. So if you got somebody that's super qualified, they may come in at, I don't know, grade 20, but they may jump all the way out here to compensate for that experience they have and whatever. Now from there, they only have one more step to go. But if they're really super qualified and they can advance, then the grade goes up and they can still continue to increase. But what will happen with it is eventually, if you retain everybody's bitching going to get out to J. But when they get to J, that cost of living adjustments will help keep that current with the current market. So, yes. And another thing you can do, if you have somebody that's doing a tremendous, absolutely wonderful job, go out of their way, we've given 2 steps. You might get 2 steps of for superior work. So it gives you a lot of flexibility, but the real key is going to be that commitment. So.
But it's just tough conversations that managers have to have with employees. I mean, you go hire a guy or a gal that's got, 6-7 years experience in a role.
Yeah.
And they're going to command a higher salary because they can.
Yes.
And they've already trained and experienced. You got someone you hired in that, grade 8 and taught them. And then I had the skill level that this person has. You have to be able to sit down with that person and say, you're not there yet.
Yeah.
Here's what it takes for you to get there. You could have already been at this point, but you chose not to.
Right.
Now you need, you gotta have the guts to have that conversation with employees.
You do.
And that's some of the things that we have talked about with the department heads internally, setting expectation for the employees, following it up, trying to do exactly what you say, develop the department heads to have those stuff conversations to get better results out of the employees.
The department heads have to, it's not always pleasant, but you have to really be very frank with them. I had a department head which he had employees having a lot of trouble with. And he come to me and said, I'm having trouble. I said, well, let me see the evaluations. Good, satisfactory. And I said, you know what? I can't do a dirty thing to help you. You have enough grades to come and do it. And that's what you're going to have. But that gets back into the job descriptions and all of that too. So this is a concept we wanted to throw. We think this is pretty important. John, I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to get into.
That's
Yeah, sorry we got off on that. I was just trying to, you know, the numbers.
yes.
But if anybody, he said he's doing this, we want to make sure we follow
Like I said,
what you would say.
We're going to have to go through the front scale and give everybody a different grade. This is just based off of current staff and we just put them in the grade. So we give an illustration to you what we're trying to accomplish. If you go to the last page of it, and I broke it down what it would actually cost at a total, it's a $69.08 increase for everybody if you put them on this step right now. Also, and at 2080 hours, it comes out to $143,000.
So that's an increase in what we currently pay or
Yeah, that's to put them on this step scale.
get everybody on this step
Yes.
scale and grade it accordingly.
Yes, sir.
Cost us an additional 143 and change.
It's gonna be a little bit more than that. And then you got add 5% for the sheriff, E911, public safety, because they work over 2080 hours. And then 20,000 for the department heads reclassification to get them on the scale. Gives you a grand total of 170, 878, 58. And then the county's responsible for FICA at 7.65%. That comes to $13,072.21. That's not on it. It didn't print. $13,072.21. And then I did a 7% match for retirement for the county, but not everybody participated at 7. I just used 7 as the plan for it. That total comes out to $11,961.50. So your grand total of a one-time to get everybody on the scale will be 195,912.27. And to put that in perspective, when we did a 2.5% merit, that was $160,877.
Yeah, again, this is based on starting at the salary and increasing 50% over a period of time. You know, that was just a figure that I was familiar with it use. You could use any number. You could use 2.5.
Yeah, I think this one's calculated at 4.15% per step.
And that's what it calculates out to be. That 4.15 will give you that 50%
Yes.
at the end of the term.
So is this just an example or is this an example with a recommendation?
Just an example, because we still need to go in and clearly define everybody's grade scale, update their job titles, because whoever came in at a recruit firefighter in the system is probably not a recruit firefighter now. They probably have the credentials and they need to be classed correctly.
So in this example, what you guys are showing is that we could go to this type program.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we've been averaging a 2.5% merit increase anyway. This program, for an additional $30,000 to $35,000 per year impact, we can move to this program and accelerate the, okay.
And it gives the employees that career path. Because right now, they don't know. You say, well, where are you going to be making 5 years? I have no idea. With this, you have a idea. You can say, well, if I do good, I'll be at this. And just the concept. And it's worked good. You do get people that get out to the end and they'll try to figure out a way to get more money. They'll say, well, I ought to deserve more. But again, they've got to take on more responsibility before they can move up in that grade.
It takes out that subjectivity of every department head coming and saying, well, I want to do the COLA and I want to do a dollar hour fee and dollar fee. But they
Yes.
need to-
Yes.
Where's your justification?
Well, in years past, honestly, pay was just,
Yeah.
we finally come up with some, ranges that we've said we need to work in this, but at one time it was just whatever. We'd have people making $8 here and $12 over here, doing basically the same thing.
Yeah, one more.
Yes.
Yes.
Sure. We believe it'll help with retention. If someone knew they were coming in the door making $15.50 and they say, okay, eventually I can get up to $18, $19, $20. They know they're not stuck there forever. They have a goal to know where they're going instead of a 2.5 merit here. And if the board chooses to do a cost of living increase or merit increase, we can incorporate that into the scale.
In some of these steps, you can probably do a couple of years with right training.
Yes.
If you excel that, aggressive.
If you got certificates and the training, you can move yourself up.
That's right.
That's one of that when we hire.
Yes.
Even though you hire someone, you go ahead and point out, you stay with us, do this, and that. Here's your potential. If we're paying.
It
Well-
will be once we get
Yeah,
the,
Yeah, we're not
if we
currently-
incorporate this.
Yeah,
it will
not
be.
currently using this.
give you an example of kind of what Adam's talking about here, with assessor's office. You know, we bring in, basically what we'd have in here would be a appraiser trainee. They'd be at one grade. They pass appraiser one, they could go to another grade. Appraiser two, they could go to another grade. And it allows them the ability to move up, plus they'll have to be graded that seniority too.
I think it's great. Just an example where I work, we have a quality auditor on every shift, goes around and inspects everything and says it's good or bad, pass, does the testing and those things. But we have to have somebody as a backup. Those people are sick and take vacation. And we struggle getting people who want that responsibility. And I put it out to the entire plant, every shift, that every single one of you take that training and program, and you get extra money per hour for having been trained, and then more money on the day you actually backfill the role.
Right.
And they're like, well, that's kind of crazy. I said, no, it improves the training level of every employee I've got in the building. Now I've got more intelligent people. You know, and it's the same approach. Even if you don't need grades 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tax assessors.
Yeah, right.
All of them go and you pay it all of them at a 5, you have 5. You got a better program and a better system than just, yeah, it works out better. The employees are motivated, they're happy, and you've got better results and performance coming out of the
The
facility.
other thing that it does is it fights the perception that Meriwether underpays and underdoes their employees. Now, we're not gonna meet Calvin, we're not gonna meet, we know that, but this shows we are investing in our employees, we're getting the path forward. It's incentive, yes, it's motivation, absolutely.
Yeah.
I like
And this will take a little time to do because all the job descriptions will need to be updated.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then we'll try to put together the duties, responsibilities, where we can classify those folks. There'll be a lot of work that goes into it, but once you get it,
More justification for that assistant now.
that's right.
Yes.
More justification of those systems. That's right. That's right.
Like I said, if this is something that the board wants us to pursue, we'll be happy to put in job descriptions, get it updated, get them on scale, come back with a total cost and tell you exactly what it'll cost one time to put everybody on the scale. One of the funding sources that I mentioned we can bring it from is the interest we're getting off the investment pool in the general fund. That's tax-free money. That's not taxpayer money. We already got $90,000 in 3 months already, so that's half of it already in 3 months. And I foresee at least 6 million being in there for the rest of the year. As long as we're getting a good 4.5% return, that itself will pay for this increase and won't be any taxpayer dollars spent.
Yeah.
So
I like that.
if the board insists on moving forward, we'll start.
Do we need a
Get
motion?
them class- It's just
No.
if y'all tell us y'all are good with it, I'll have my team work on it with Valerie and
Yeah.
we'll start get them classified because Kelly's from Texas is a new payroll clerk. She's quick. She can get the job descriptions titled in there, work with HR, make sure everything's up to date.
Just a consensus that y'all are all fine.
Move forward, have at least move forward, put it together.
You did. You did. And
Well, thank you, brother. I wasn't here.
you did.
Has it done?
Yeah.
Saying it's got. The assessments, keep up to date. Based on job descriptions. The other thing I push for is the federal travel regulations.
Right.
Thanks for that too.
Yes. Yes. And yes, you did.
I mean, what, you understand that you can put that in place. It helps all the way. It might take us a while to get here, but definitely this is where we need to.
The employees will see it as a positive.
They will, and it'll put more on the department heads.
Start putting it all together and bring it up to us.
Yeah.
So everybody agree?
I agree. You agree?
I didn't.
You are,
You know, what is
Look,
moving forward?
on the first page, it says firefighter EMTB, grade 12. Then on the second page, you look at what grade 12 is. And then you look on the third page at the bottom, it says firefighter EMTB. That salary doesn't reflect.
Yeah, they're spread. I try to get with Danny.
Pay scale, it still doesn't reflect is what.
Yeah, those were, when I got with Danny, the ones you see on the front page is actually starting pay currently now, not what he was previously paying him. So we try to get with Danny, get what he was actually gonna pay a recruit firefighter A, B, however he classified them out. But yeah, they're gonna be sporadic on that, and that's what we gotta do to clean up and get them on the right scale and the grade and
And at the
get
same
everything
time,
together.
that's the consistency that we're looking. What you're pointing out is exactly what this will fix once we get everything. Squared away. Everybody should be based on their certification.
But the- Firefighter, we had really, because of the hours they worked at the time, we had actually a separate scale for them where they went from, trainee to, EMT, whatever. Yeah. And we could set that up with the whole thing.
I got two more questions and I'll try and be quiet. One is, since we have consensus with this, will there be raises to implement this? Will there be employees that are going to get a raise by going to this program?
Yes, everybody, as you can see on the sheets, everybody's going to get a small,
So everybody,
Something.
so all of this is accurate. Okay.
if we use,
They adjust based on what.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
And
there's
some may
nobody
get a
that's already
bigger
where they
raise.
need to be.
yeah, no one is,
and let me
I
ask.
think the closest person may be 2 cents off is the closest that we have.
We had some discussions that we've already done a COLA and some adjustments, addition to COLA. And then this is gonna be an addition to that again,
Yes,
in some of those same areas.
to put them on this pay scale.
I think by the time we get all this thing done, you guys are gonna be fast approaching your
We're going to be close to the budget.
budget time.
Okay.
And so,
That's
what
gonna
I
be-
kind of vision is dealing with it, getting it all out there, rolling it out, explaining it to the employees and make it effective maybe next budget year. And instead of doing the 2.5, we do this instead.
That's gonna be my
There will some
recommendation.
People, I think, that'll get not huge raises, but more raises than others. And I'll give you an example. If you got a person down, I don't know, in Department A, who's doing the same job as the person over here in Department B, and yet their pay is way off. We may have to take A, and they may have to get a little bigger raise to get back into the step system, because they may be down here at 8, they ought to be at 15. So in those situations, those will be corrected. And we'll have some that will be high. They'll be paid a lot for what they do. They're going to end up way out here in this game. And
Average balance out.
it averages balance out.
So typical Adam question then, is there not a way we can do it faster? And it's just, I always have to say that. But one aspect of it is that I do not think we'll be over budget this year because of how short staffed we are.
Great.
Correct.
We would implement this quicker. I know,
Yeah.
and the reason I ask that is what do you need to do it quicker? Not can y'all do more quicker? What do you need to make that happen quicker? Can we afford that? Can we find that? And then will it impact, but we still stay within budget this year because we are short staffed?
Because that itself would help keep the ones that are here.
Yeah.
Yes.
To be
Yeah.
excited.
Yes.
And the chatter amongst 258 or whatever employees would be great chatter instead of any chatter.
We could certainly do it. I think quicker than that. The key is going to be with Valerie getting the job descriptions, and then we all need to sit down and grade those of what they do, because that's critical to get it into the right spot, or as close as you can. And when we implemented it, we also had, we give it back to the department heads afterwards, so this is where we are. If they had a reason they felt like that maybe we misinterpreted that, they could come and talk about it and say, hey, this employee does, in addition to this, they do this. And it might warrant a small change. But yeah, we could do that. And there's some funded options out there. I won't get into them today, but there are some funded options out there that could allow us to implement this thing without, really little impact on the
Like
budget.
you mentioned a while ago, interest here and this and that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it really is,
It's non-taxpayer money. It's just investments in it.
It's a matter of y'all, day in and day out operations already adding this to it.
Correct.
But we're so easy, the quicker you do it, the more excited we'll be.
Yeah.
You
Now-
what you gotta do, you understand
To
that?
answer your question, we can get it pretty, like Mr. Gay said, if we can get the job descriptions graded. I have an audit that's coming up that's going to be done in February. It's got reported by March. My staff is more than willing to do whatever they need to do to work on getting this detail and get it up to date.
And I will too.
Yes. And they can do it while I'm doing the audit because Tammy will be involved, but I'll have two more that can be working on this along with Valerie. My goal was to try to get, like you said, as quick as we can get it, maybe April, May, get it implemented. And that way the budget will be coming around in July, August. That way I'll have the numbers for the budget to incorporate it. So we know what we can budget for, because I can agree totally that we're going to have the savings in the budget due to the vacancies that we have.
That sounds great.
Well, that-
With Pleasant, we'll shoot for that as a goal. We'll try to get you
These guys
something.
did, I kind of sit down and scribbled this out and calculated, did that 4.1, and then I said, John. man,
Darren got the
because
first
I-
line
all
and
this
the
stuff.
column, and it took me about 20 minutes in Excel. I'm like, here's your grayscale. So
Yeah, so.
but my goal is to try to get to you. If the board's okay, we'll try to shoot for April to try to get you something. That way we can implement it maybe May, and then we'll be right there at the budget time. Yeah, but we'll try our hardest to get it there.
Implement, move forward, get it done.
Yeah.
With retention. I mean, like,
Yes.
when he said these people should be happy and see a change, I'm gonna stick around and see what happens.
Once we get it ready, you guys are ready to roll it out, we could bring in the employees and go over it with them. How it works, whatever, what they can expect. I think that'll make all of them feel better too. Yeah.
Just know it's coming in the next few months. Help those on the fence that I may leave to go here for somewhere else. So if they know we're working on it, yeah. So if they know we're working on it, they're more likely to stick around.
I've had this in my mind for a long time, I just hadn't had time. But, you know, we got great help. This is we got other things to talk about.
See, sometimes it helps to be a little abrasive.
Pardon?
Sometimes it helps to be a little abrasive and get things moving.
Yeah, I know. Well, the time it had to be right, I mean, when you're doing all these other things, it's kind of a challenge sometimes. But,
But I can give you updates throughout the commissioner meetings to let you know where we're at on it. And like I said, while I'm working on the audit, it's solely gonna be me working on it. My team will be behind the scenes working on getting the job descriptions, working with HR and getting everything done. And we'll try to get something to you as quick as we can.
and you know, in the years past, we didn't have as much turnover as we have now. So I think timing on it, I wish we got it done earlier, but timing on it, I think is critical. So.
Okay.
Anything else we need to?
No, sir. The board gave us send that on a consensus, and finance will work, getting it all together and work with HR, and we'll try to get it as quick as we can. We will.
All right.
That's number one.
I'll
I've
turn
got,
it back over to Valerie.
yeah, I've got a few others to go through. None of the others will take nearly the amount of time that we just took discussing the first one. It was the most important one. Number two is going to be a recommendation to make some changes to our current benefit offerings, because that's always a good marketing tool, the better your benefits are. And I think a lot of our benefits are really good already, but I would like to mention our current health plan. There's only one, and there's a $6,000 deductible, and the county pays $4,500 toward that. The only part the employee pays is $1,500 toward the $6,000 deductible. That's awesome. That's a great benefit. The issue with the medical insurance is, if you look at page 2 at the bottom third of page 2, it says employee's portion. These are annual premiums that an employee has to pay. If the employee just has single coverage, just coverage for him or herself, it's, almost $1,800 a year. If it's an employee and spouse coverage, it's a little over $6,000. If it's an employee just covering children and not a spouse, it's $5,300, around that number. If an employee is covering a spouse and children, it's almost $9,000 a year. Okay, so hold that thought and go over to the next page. This is what I want to show you. Our least paid employee right now is making $9.74 per hour. That's approximately $29,707 per year, and that includes the built-in overtime for that position. If that employee needs to cover themselves and their whole family, it's going to be a third of what they're even earning. I want you to, that was the point I wanted to make and show you. Even though we have great benefits, they cost a lot from an employee standpoint.
Question I have, an employee that's making like 974 or whatever. The family coverage, would that employee be eligible for big bucks for Medicaid or SSI? And with that being said, sometimes an increase can actually have an adverse effect if the employee is put in a different category. If you're only making $9.74 an hour, that's not even making. And to me, that's whatever your levels are to defects. You should be eligible for state assistance.
And a lot of them probably are getting it instead of enrolling in our
But what I'm
benefits.
saying is, just be cautious about what benefits you're going to offer the employee payment if it would not been out of eligibility for other programs that are out there. I mean, that's just a point I want to make up front because I've seen it happen too many times. And, you know, a dollar over can prevent somebody from getting much needed
From being eligible.
assistance. Yeah, or whatever, so.
You actually end up losing money by that.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you're denying benefits that they would be eligible for from other sources. I would work to get the employee higher pay than I would to. I mean,
To reduce the premiums.
right, that's the financial.
And so if we're paying less than premiums, we're gonna be able to pay more.
Mm.
Wow.
That's a question I was having. So this employee and county portion is, so the sum of those two is using employee only coverage, for example. You know, almost $11,000. That's what the insurance company's charging us for that.
Per year for one person, yes.
How are we determining that split of the portion? What's factoring that says, I'm gonna pay 15% of that, the county's gonna pick up 85%? How do we determine that ratio?
That's gone through, every year when we sit down with the, insurance brokers and all that come in. We kind of look and determine what that split has been. And, you know, it stays a little bit. We just kind of work it out there. We try not to have where, and we bring it back to the board, try not to have it where, you know, the employee takes a super hit 1 year on it, but we may have to adjust that percentage wise. And then, of course, it could change every year with what it's costing us.
Right, well, what are we basing that percentage on? So you
It's
reviewing
based
that?
on, we started out with a historic, number and we just kind of based it on that. And we could change, you guys could change it at any time.
Well, I'm just curious as to her, you know, Commissioner Grant's point too is, you know, one previous employer I had would rate this based on your income level. You pay more the more you make. They pick up more cost. It was the same cost for, you know, this
Right.
guy or girl doing this job here and up here. The cover was the same cost, but if you was in a certain pay scale bracket, you only paid this much, this percentage of the insurance, and the company picked up the rest. And the further you progressed, it became more easy.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see what kind of impact would that be for us to move in any direction on that to help the employees.
Well, one of the
People
things,
stay more because of benefits than they will a lot of times with even pay. You get really good insurance,
right,
cheaper than they can get it anywhere else. Some of these people will never,
right.
they'll break their backs to do things because they can't get that anywhere else. And I lived through that with, you know, private equity buyouts and they change it, you know, things and all. And we used to have a lot of women that worked in our factory because their husbands were construction workers or truck drivers or whatever, making great money. They didn't really have benefits. They would come working in a bucket plant and just put handles in buckets for, you know, $10, $11 an hour, but they only paid $15 a week for insurance. And that was what they were doing, was getting the medical coverage and a little extra spending money.
Right.
And when the new company came in and everybody paid the same, and they left, they went somewhere else. You know, and so it was a big, I think that could be a big, I don't know what kind of cost impact that would be, but if we could shift that in, And then maybe it has to offset some of that 4.15. We do 3 instead of 4.15, but we took $500 off of each person's coverage level. You know,
On that, Commissioner Worsley, we'll be having conversations with the insurance broker coming up. Open enrollment will be coming up in June or July, so we'll have those conversations. We got a meeting next week with NFP. I wanted to sit down with her coming from a city. We had 3 different levels of insurance. We just didn't have one. So we're having a pre-meeting leading up to the February meeting where they're going to produce or suggest what they're going to be. And that's when we can determine what the county share will be, what the employee share will be. They'll let us know if it's increasing at all, decreasing, and then we can see what numbers are going to be.
you can get 3 different tiers of programs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Coverage that allows them to choose their options based on what they feel like their medical incidents and histories being, as well as we control how much percentage we push down to the employee also. So
We talked about it, I'm sure they're gonna talk about it a little bit, about design, the different types of plan designs. You know, some have that high deductible, whatever. And Jonathan, Valerie gonna run some demographics on their employees, because usually people that are most attracted to that are younger people. So we really want to see just what's the age breakdown of our employees, because I think when you guys start making some of those decisions, that could be important too, looking at what they got. So I know you guys are working with
Yes.
that.
Yeah, we took that as an action item yesterday. I think I'd get the insurance brokers to run a report that would show the ages of our employees that are covered and their dependents. They should have birth dates for all of those individuals. And just as a reminder, employees can be covered on their parents' insurance through the age of 26. So that's a big help too. Lots of times, you know, we're hiring so many people in the younger generation now. As we get older, we're hiring even younger people, and they're on their parents' insurance for an extended time still. I mean, they're 21 years old, so they're not going to be even interested in our health insurance for a while because their parents are covering them. So
my oldest daughter was the same way, still covered in mine. So do I need you? I said, well, it never hurts to have double and triple, quadruple insurance. But no, I'm paying, it cost me the same for 3 children on there as it did for 2 children.
Yeah.
So I'll pay it, do some things with the money, whatever. 26, you gotta do it.
And-
oh my God.
yeah, and employees do get a discount for going to the gym or doing, you know, really any type of physical activity that they document and turn into our finance department. So that's $50 per month for the employee who's doing the physical activity, or for the spouse. It could be for both of them, not just the employee, but the employee plus spouse. Could both go to the county gym or do some kind of documentation to show what they're doing as far as physical activity. So I always stress that. But when I'm sitting down with an employee, our benefits are so good. I mean, it's such a positive conversation. But then when we get to the cost of the medical, I can just see the shock on their faces, and I just do all I can to promote the gym. And, you know, you could save money that way, but people are shocked at the cost. I mean, I see it every day with new hires.
Got a question. I mean, if you look at the employee portion for the employee only, and then the county portion, you add that up, you get $10,334. But if you add a spouse, which is one more person, and you add that up, you come up with $32,000. Why does it cost three times more money?
To have a spouse, to cover a spouse.
Double what the employee's paying, twice as much to insure their spouse. Why is that?
Probably just the actuarial tables that say the percentage and chances of there being a illness with the spouse is this percent. They just go back and they look at the age, the habits, the location, what medical care is nearby. There's a whole bunch of figure that goes into it. But I agree with you. It doesn't seem like it's 3 times.
But I mean,
We're double
whether the employees are female or male.
Right.
It's $10,334. But if you add your spouse, and that spouse can be a male or female,
Sir.
it increases it double again what it was.
Well, the spouse has more potential to have a high claim than, say, you know, covering children.
So what?
The spouse has more potential to be a high claimant, to have high claim usage than a child. So that's the main reason the spouse coverage is a lot more.
At one time, we only had 2 categories. We had employee only and then family. And, you might have a person with a spouse, they'd be paying the same thing as the person with a spouse and 10 children. So we kind of broke those out into that year, several years ago, we kind of have a little bit of consideration for that, but.
Well, I mean, if you add the children, that's even more. money.
Yeah.
Yes.
it's even more, but, yeah.
And that was something that John would then discuss, negotiate, compare when they had the conversations with the program.
Yeah, I just can't understand it because the spouse, like I said, the spouse, either be male or female,
Yeah.
depending on which one works with the county.
Right.
And so, I mean, it shouldn't really matter. It should be like if it's $10,334 for one, and all be $10,334 to add another one.
Yes, sir, Commissioner Collins. Well, that's my whole point. I want to sit down with NFP and go over this because I'm familiar with the city. Like I told Commissioner Wars that the 3 levels. My wife's a teacher, and to put her on insurance and the children on insurance is like $200 something a month. To add me, it jumps up to $400. So just to add a family it's across the board. It's tremendous amount of money. So
Oh,
But I mean, that's her portion.
yes,
And on the employee's portion, the county portion.
for a family, it's 33,000.
You know, to the spouse jumps up from 8,500 to 26,000.
Those are kind of questions I want to speak with NFP about
Yeah.
coming on board. When I saw those numbers, that was my first thing when we got to those discussions. I want to understand why these prices are what they are with the county.
Valerie, are we right now we're in a situation where if there's other insurance available, we don't cover people? Like, for example, if I came in and I wanted to cover my spouse, but my spouse has available insurance, do we cover that?
My situation is, my husband can cover me, but he doesn't. So I choose to take the county's insurance. He covers the children. If I chose to come home and have him cover me, he could not do that. I can't do addition.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Right, because insurance is available
Correct.
to
At
you
my-
here.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
The way mine works is I have to pay an extra $100 a month.
Or that might be a
And
problem.
Yeah.
because she does have the insurance available.
Yeah, yeah.
And through the state as a teacher,
Yes.
it costs more for us to go through their program as a family than it does mine.
Yeah.
Even paying an extra $100 a month.
Yeah.
Because she has available to get insurance at her job, and if you want to put her on ours, it'll charge you the family rate plus $100.
Yeah, some employers do that.
And we just need to, you guys talk, we
Yes.
just need to
We
talk
will.
about that too.
Okay, moving along, we currently offer $35,000 in basic life insurance to all full-time employees. This is at no cost to the employee, which is a really nice benefit, but that's not a huge amount. So we're looking at the possibility of increasing the basic life insurance maybe to 2 times the employee's current salary. I think it would definitely be worth getting some quotes on that, or at least increasing it from 35 maybe to 50,000 or to 75,000. I think we should look at other options because that would just be another enhancement for the benefit package, and it might not cost that much to do it. And again, we'll be meeting with the insurance brokers in upcoming months, including next week, and it's just something we could look at. If it wasn't a significant cost, I think that'd be a nice enhancement to the basic life insurance.
We had a situation where what we did pass was, we had a certain amount of life insurance with every employee, just, small amount. But then we had on the retirement end, we had a term policy that went with that. And it was really designed, and it was 3 times, but it was really designed to help the person who was in the pension plan if something happened to them before they, got, full investment in there and whatever. It helped them, be able to have coverage for their family, something for their family. And it wasn't super costly. But it did have things when we got to a certain age, it dropped in half and it eventually went away. But that was something that they brought up, we might just want to explore.
It'd be worth looking into it to see how much it would cost. It might not cost a lot. Yeah,
We don't anticipate it both get dropped up the side.
yeah.
It costs that much, but it gives them a great incentive to know, hey, something happens to me, Yeah.
Exactly.
Have a little bit for a while, anyhow, let's take care of this, take care of that.
And the employee pays all of short-term and long-term disability premiums if they enroll in those benefits. And I would recommend that we consider having the county pay for the long-term disability.
Or another option, maybe pick it up at the same ratio you do the family the other coverages. Where if it's 15%, 85%.
Let it be a shared cost.
Shared cost where it's not free, but that's a big savings too. The way my insurance works that I personally have is the same way. It's significantly cheaper than the regular insurance. But they pick up the rest of it. So I only pay probably $20 a month, $30 a month for short-term and long-term, and then whatever balance they get. But
The cost of long or short-term disability is going to be based on the employee's salary and their age. So it would be a different amount for all of us. Yeah, depending on age and salary. A percentage would work with what you're suggesting.
That'd be relative to what they would, income they would be replacing.
And,
and it's still more money back in their pocket either way, without the county having to take that full burden.
Yeah.
and Valerie had some real good insight on the short versus long-term disability with her experience. She recommended that we do the long-term disability as it's better benefit for the employee. And whereas short-term may be take advantage of it, the long-term is a better.
But what is the payout percentage on short-term?
Short-term is 6 months or 24 weeks at 60% of their salary. Long-term is 60%. And you would file for that after you've been out 6 months.
And it's also all vacation and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, but you have thresholds you have to meet to get short-term and then definitely get long-term. So there's doctor things, it's always the fear that people will abuse it and do that. And you'll run into one every once in a while, but they're really hurting themselves because they end up paying more money out of pocket for those visits and doctor things to get the confirmation to get short-term. And if your managers are doing their job through the process, then that employee's already not, typically those kind of employees are not doing a good job either way. Yeah. So there, yeah. You can save yourself that money by managing people accordingly.
Just an example of that, I mean, my husband's got to pay both his short-term and long-term. All of it, it's never usable.
Yeah.
It's a headache sometimes. Go through all that.
The next one we are proposing that we consider making changes to would be holidays. We looked at the idea of having, or maybe adding one floating holiday that you could take whenever, maybe having a birthday holiday that you could take during your birthday month, or maybe just 1 or 2 personal days. Again, just giving the employee an opportunity to have more time off. And we compared our current holiday offerings to those of the state of Georgia, and we're very close to what they're already offering. If we added Good Friday and Veterans Day holidays, we would have the exact same holidays that the state of Georgia currently provides. And I think that would be a really good selling point when I'm talking to somebody about our benefits. If I say, if I could say, you know, we have 13 holidays, which is exactly what the state of Georgia is currently offering. Okay, the next one is vacation buyout, and I may let Darren and John help some with that one. We're looking at making changes to that.
Plus it is the cost the county to offer an additional holiday to allow the employees. Because in my mind, we're probably better served federal holidays, because that's when you go to close, that's when you give major businesses, whatever. And I don't remember, but I think it's like maybe 10 or 11.
11.
But then your cost, when you start factoring in your cost or what you're going to be paying out, that's another day of work productivity that you don't have. And when you start having taxpayers' money, you're walking a very fine line. And I know I had a problem with years ago as a federal employee. Why is the county closed on the day after Thanksgiving? You know, and we're still getting it. And I'm not begrudging anybody at the same time. what makes that a holiday? To me, it should be, if you want to take the day after Thanksgiving, that's a annual leave day. I mean, that's partially on my part, but when you factor in the cost of an employee to the employee, you basically stay at home. That you're not getting what you need. You have to justify what's that cost.
So if you do them as countywide holidays, you get the benefit of not having expenses. Power, the gas, fuel, whatever running, the public works up and down the road, whatever. You don't have the lights and the air and the heat running in here for. So you would get some cost savings, and what that is it offset that? I don't know. A lot of people like the concept of floating holidays. They use them on their birthday, they use them for that day after Thanksgiving if you don't offer it or something like that. And then there's where you really get into losing productivity, because in a short-staffed department, now you could have two people at any time taking their floating holiday because it's the Super Bowl or whatever's going on, and you're losing some valuable productivity there. And you also lose it when you pick the day after Thanksgiving, but you do gain no expenses being paid out for that day, but.
You know, only expense you have somebody is you have your, with counties, you have your emergency personnel, fire, EMS, sheriff.
That'll get a
40%, you'll end up you'll have to pay them and pay them the holiday. Yeah, so.
That's it.
So, that's something we can think about, talk about, how you guys will look doing
Would
that.
that have to be something that we determine as a board, or would it be something you do as long as you stay within the payroll budget?
I think you would need to adopt something that would be the policy, and it could be federal holidays, state holidays, and do your own, whichever one you want.
And then the other thing too is how does that translate all the way into the constitutional officers or whatever? And executive, whatever, you got one office that doesn't want to observe that holiday. Then you're in conflict with the other departments or whatever. Case in point, somebody decides to close the courthouse.
But we're, but we've been.
Well, if you had an
Does that
official,
put you in conflict? Because, to me, you're opening up a can of worms here when you start talking about increasing holidays and all here. If you've got a constitutional officer, their employees might not get that holiday. And if we start changing that, I think it's a very slippery slope, and I'll leave it at that. But my very first question would be, how much are we talking about the cost to the taxpayers in their Wood County to add an additional holiday? Bottom line.
and I think that would be,
Constitutional officers, services offered, or anything else, and then which set of holidays you're gonna go by. You're gonna go by federal holidays, and so you're gonna lose a holiday. What counts? You got a holiday already built in, that's not a recognized federal holiday. And if you want to go to the state has holidays that they don't observe, that we may have influence, and I'm thinking of the one in its President State. They don't observe President State. Are you gonna take that one off? If that's the case, then, President State, I think is,
They usually do that after Thanksgiving, right?
well, maybe it's just a day or something like that.
It's called a state holiday.
New Year.
It's something-
Fair.
well, I'm sure it's
Yeah.
something, but with that being said, be very careful of that one.
Did we look at the cost when we added June 19th as a holiday? That would be the most recent one we've added. Juneteenth, yes.
what you basically have is 1 day's payroll. Yeah, basically.
Yeah, and John could give that to us.
So.
Yeah, that's the last one we added.
Yeah, again, all these.
These are just ideas. These aren't even being strongly recommended or anything. These are just ideas. Okay,
That's the one I'm going to try to hold back for round 2. If some of the other things you're doing don't get the desired impact, we can get the other round with some incentives that we could do.
Right.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so on to vacation buyout then?
Okay.
Are we giving Thanksgiving off now?
Yes, it's,
Yeah,
it's
get
a,
2 days for Thanksgiving, 2 days for Christmas.
It's like, right.
Considering that.
Yeah,
Maybe they do
Yeah.
Thanksgiving Friday, then nobody have this problem anymore.
yeah. Well, historically, most people do give them the 2 days.
Yes. Families in town and all that, and, you know, I
People
go to
travel that day. But, you can do vacation, do something, but
To me, that was the incentive of having annual leave. You build up your annual leave, so you go back off, you schedule your time off during the slow times.
But you probably want to leave that one across the board as a holiday. You changed it and said, day after Thanksgiving, you gotta use one of your floating holidays. Then you're gonna be half staff, so it doesn't matter. They're off and the rest are gonna be just relaxing, chilling out that day. Anyway. They didn't use it, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
When it's half staff and public works ain't full, this ain't full, it's like, well, let's just chill out and give it a day over with, so.
We do have built into our personnel manual that you have to work the day before and the day after a holiday to receive holiday pay
Oh, okay.
the hourly
That's good.
positions.
for hourly positions. Or have it approved ahead of time if you have vacation or something like that. You just can't come at the last minute and say, hey, I need to take Monday off for vacation. You gotta do it well in advance. And so we are covered on it, and so the employee doesn't abuse.
Is there a
taking more
standard
off.
notice for vacation? I want to take vacation, I gotta let you know a certain amount of time before that.
Each department can make that decision.
Yes. Not a policy.
It's not a
Not
across the
firm.
board policy. Each department based on, whatever their responsibilities are and the number of employees they have working for them. They could decide how they're gonna approve it or do it.
Yes, but even if we're gonna leave it that way, that each department, we get that in writing somewhere in the system, because.
a lot of departments they have seasonal,
Yeah.
So you do not want them to leave like I've used Cassandra's office and business license. It's really super busy right at the beginning of the year, so you're better to take that vacation after you've completed all that. And I think we have the ability for the department head to work with the
Yeah.
staff and improve that. But
that's how it
it
is.
probably would be a good idea to add something in that gave a consistent notification.
Yeah, at least, even by department. You have
Right.
to take in consideration what they gotta deal with.
And then say beyond that, the department could make its own
But at some
decisions,
point-
have a minimum standard.
Her department might say, I gotta give a week's notice to go on vacation, and, somebody over there in the public works, they 2 days notice, and they give, I'm not, you complain about everything. This is leaving the door open.
Okay. Now, you want me to talk about vacation,
Yes.
buyout? Okay. And I know you guys are tired of talking war stories, but what we have now is we get to, is it 240 hours of
240
time? Any vacation you have not used rolls off. You lose that vacation
After 240.
after
Yes.
240.
That's where it caps.
So what we do now is, some of the people are really dedicated. They just gonna lose it. They just will stay. They don't feel like they can take that time off, and they just stay. Others are gonna take it off regardless. I mean, et cetera. So what we had in another lifetime was we had a situation where we had a cap on what you could have in regular vacation. But when that rolled off, we kept what we call banked time, okay? And that banked time could be dealt with in a couple of different ways. And we stopped the banked time, and then I think the decision makers figured out, this was a mistake. But we want a calendar year, so we get down to December, and like the public safety folks wouldn't have anybody working. Everybody that had extra vacation time they were gonna lose took it off. So they couldn't get enough folks in. It's hard to say, well, you're gonna lose it, but I'm mandating you can't have it. Then you're gonna turn around and have to lose it. So what we did was we come up with a policy of banking that time. And we gave the employees 2 options with that. One was to get paid just a nominal fee. We paid $50 a day. They were making more than that if they'd have used it, but at least they got a little something back for it. Okay. So if the employee got ready to leave, for example, or retire, they would get paid for the 240 at regular time. And then if they had the other bank time, they get paid at $50 a day for it. Now, another option that we gave, which was a much more popular option, was to use it as credited service time. Okay. And so what you would do if you had, I don't know, you just had, say, a month left of vacation time that you'd already banked. What you would get to do would be add a month of service to your retirement. Now, we had both a defined benefit and a defined contribution plan. And what we required the employee to do if they were going to use that bank time was to make their contribution back to the plan. And then the county would make their contribution to the plan as well, their percentage of the contribution. So what it would do is to give you extra credited service. Now, we're in a defined contribution plan. So what it would end up doing would be just enhancing the employees' benefits a little bit. It'd still be cheaper than trying to pay it out at the regular rate. But we found that to be very popular. I mean, all of a sudden the problems we had with people being out in December went away because they knew, well, we go get something for our time. And it was real good incentive because usually the employees that are going to be in that scenario are the ones that are good. You want to keep them because they haven't gone out and used all the vacation. And we had some people that, man, they did their next vacation was waiting on the next time they accrued a day where they could use it. And so those never got that benefit, but those really didn't deserve that benefit. But the ones that actually were there that worked, when we found out we were not just taking that away, they were fine. And our issues with staff went away. So there's something else for us to consider and look at. I know Valerie's talked here about increasing from 240 to 280, the time you could accrue. In our discussions, we talked about, well, you don't want to have, if you're going to do a 40-hour buyback like it's here, you don't want to have it with somebody that's somebody only has a week's vacation. You don't want about it. So we put in, I think, 160 or so. So this concept here would give you the ability to keep it beyond that and bank it. Or I think one of the concepts here is when you get to past 160, you could sell that time back to the county. The county could just buy it.
I'm curious to survey some employees and see about if you got rid of the balance of 160, the buyback, and changed it from their anniversary month to do it in December, the end of the year. So about the second week of December, all buybacks are done and being paid out that week. The only reason I say is that where I work at, they changed to that a few years ago. So for the employees, if they're not going to use them, it keeps them. I don't have to worry about them using it all up at the end of December either.
Right.
They're not getting paid for it, and they use it as like a Christmas bonus to help them get through Christmas holidays.
Yeah.
They love that.
Right.
Where if I had 165 hours, well, I could sell 5 hours.
Yeah.
But no, I could. You cannot sell more than 40 hours.
Right.
So, but they could still do that and do it in December.
Yeah.
Instead of an anniversary month, it might be February.
We talked about that, and I guess the concern we had, not the issue, but concern was that you'd have everybody hitting at what time.
Maybe our fiscal year ends 9:30. So it's
Would be the
other
only
thing.
thing. But yeah, I agree with you. I think that'd be more popular.
I mean, it's just an idea.
It would be because during the audit, I have to accrue everybody's vacation buys because it's a liability for the county. So
Yeah.
we're on the hook to pay them if they retire, if they get terminated, we have to pay it back. So this gives them the option to sell back 40 hours. We can do it at any given time. And as of the end of fiscal year 2023, only 34 employees met that 160 threshold. And out of that, maybe 4 of them were just right at 160. They didn't have anything they could sell back.
So you might get more if they can get it at that time.
Yeah.
That's like a Christmas savings account. That I mean, it's out there.
We have that in here, I think, too.
Justin, I thought it was crazy, just more change, it wasn't needed.
Yeah.
But once the people started talking about it, I saw their people going, oh, that was a good idea. I don't think corporate intended that.
Yeah.
Anything to help you, but it was actually turned out to be a very good.
Yeah, well, it solved a lot of end of the year staff issues. So that's another concept that we talked about, put it back over to you guys, educational incentives.
Yeah, we discussed having a one-time payout of $1,000 if you get a job-related certification, or a one-time payout of $2,000 if you get a 4-year degree. The reason we would say just, you know, that you could receive payment just one time for each of those would be if we implement the pay scale, that's going to take care of additional pay already. So you might not want to give, you know, the kind of increases we're giving now every time, you know, one of us gets a certification. I mean, that's just out there as a thought. I wasn't familiar with that, and John
I
has seen
worked at
that.
Previous employers that offered this, and they
John has
only
seen
gave you
that.
2 per employee while you were there, that if you got it,
Like, you know, get endless certification.
correct.
Yeah.
That was one thing in my head, like,
Because you got someone go out and say, okay, I want this certification. No, you got to be approved by your department head or the administrator.
They
Job.
spend half of their time in class.
Yeah.
So they get the service.
Yeah.
Because right now, I don't know what we give per certification, but someone go out and get 15 certifications, get a 2 or 3% increase every time they get a certification. This would stop that completely and say, okay, you got one certification, you get $1,000. And it doesn't have to be 1,000, it could be 500, it could be, you know, just something to entice the employee to go out and get their certifications.
And of course, job related.
Yes.
Go get a bachelor's degree.
Yeah.
Okay, and the next one is the loan forgiveness program. We actually have employees that are currently taking advantage of that. I fill out the paperwork for that periodically, but if they've worked for in public service for 10 years, they have the potential to have the opportunity to possibly have their loan forgiven, so they wouldn't have to pay the rest of their educational loan. That's how it works, right?
Yes.
That's no cost.
Yeah, no cost at all.
that's,
There's a lot of people who work in local government do not know that from
Not everybody knows about
student
it.
loans. 10 years or 10 consecutive payments, your debt is totally forgiven by the
you
government.
know, if you was to extend some portion of that to family members, probably drives the local way. If you got somebody 40s, 50s years old and the kids are going to college, and you did some form of that to where now if you stay and work with us through so many years, we'll do the same. In principle, some sort of program like that for their children. You know, a big game changer.
And if we could get it if we could get it into the federal program, whatever it is, where they would forgive us and we didn't have to pay it. You could be looking at some serious, if we had to pay that, we look at some serious money.
They bounced around where I worked in like great employees. Back when it was in the middle of COVID, they about to jump ship money and prices doing everywhere. What if you took your best employee and said, look, here's this much money set aside for your child's college. That's your incentive to stay here as long as you work with us, and we'll pay for his or her college. You know, what is that? You know, from 40 to $100,000, but they're working with you 10 to 12 more years. They, you know, there's all kinds of things people threw out there like that. It could be expensive or just portions of that that would make people feel like you care. And then you don't want to get that kind of money. 15 people out there, you know, but there's a different idea.
Okay, we're almost finished with the benefits. Matthew recently sent out an email that our employees could get a discount for purchasing products from Dell. So I've got that listed on here, and we could look at discounts for maybe through Verizon and AT&T. I haven't had a chance to talk to Matthew about that yet, but we thought about that. We thought about offering a credit union, maybe the Noonan Coweta Credit Union. So these are just some other things. Again, we were just brainstorming, just coming up with suggestions of things that we thought might enhance our benefit offerings. The next one,
I
go ahead.
disagree with credit. I think I once had explored the option of that credit union. I think if we could get the school system considered being a party to that, the county employees be part of it, I think that would work. And that the credit union I'm talking about, is credit union is city and county employees. It's in Newton, but it's very stable. It also puts paid by, you know, advantages of it. You can have a Christmas savings plan. You get some really good loan rates. You could get loan rates for small items without having to go through, you know, all the stuff with banks, and could have some potential. The downside is it's not right here, but as you guys said,
Everything's done by
today you can do it
DocuSign.
by
Everything's done over the internet. He sends you DocuSign or Adobe.
Southern Credit Union, based out of Fayetteville, Covina, and LaGrange, we did that with them.
So you had a lot of participation at,
Early on, we didn't, when we first did it, and then that was probably 10 years ago. And as time goes on, as people leave, there's not as many new people enrolling, but yeah.
yeah, I tried doing that at Sejong and didn't have a lot of participation, but I offered it and I would have days like, I was just curious since
Yeah, we did.
you would have been working across the road from me and your employees did take advantage. We didn't have a lot at Sejong that did.
Look into your route. We did probably not a good job of putting it out in the forefront of the benefit either.
Yeah, it's very popular. I mean, they'll match carloads, they're just a lot of stuff. And it's a little more personal than some of the big credit unions, but I think I've been a member for like 50 years.
A lot of people in the hourly positions are used to making weekly payments on items.
Yeah.
And when you would do weekly or bi-weekly payments with a credit union, they would cut the interest rate percentage.
Yeah.
If you would do that.
Right, yeah.
And that they love that. So then they would get better and different things, pay for it the same way they didn't pay for it. They really get robbed on from these other
Yeah,
loans.
that's right.
And it was a advantage.
Well, they also will sometimes offer a checking account to someone who wouldn't normally qualify to have one. That could be a big selling feature too. That's another advantage of a credit union. Moving on to number 3, employee referrals. I do want to throw that one out there because I think that has the potential to, I mean, it would only cost us something if I got a good employee referral, so there's no cost up front. But I've had success with this in other places that I've worked. If you refer someone and they've worked for the county for 90 days and have a satisfactory performance evaluation, you could give $150 referral fee to the person that referred. At the end of 6 months, you could give another 150, and at the end of 1 year, with a new hire working for 1 year, you could give another 200. That has the potential to help if people wanted to take advantage of it, because you could actually refer a lot of different people for different departments and you could stagger those. I mean, every time you turn around, oh, I'm getting $150 payment for this one. Oh, it's time for my $200 payment because that referral's been here a year. So
I tell you, we actually do this. We implemented this in the middle of COVID. And this year, 2023, our turnover numbers are not exactly what this is, but it's pretty close, probably 80%. We hired 60 people and we turned 40, 45. So kind of similar, kind of what's going on in your hourly positions, technical skill positions, like would be firefighters and those things. Not as much turnover there. But we do $500 per employee if you use employee reference. And then the employee that gets hired on is $750. It's broken down in time frame. And even with that increase in what, we still only had 6 people take it, we paid 6 payments out in 2023. So it on paper and the logic of it, it sounds like a fantastic thing to do. Yeah. A lot of people, I don't know why they don't take advantage of it. You had experience where it's better than that?
yes, and for a manufacturing plant, but it was Winpack Films.
Yeah.
I had in Sonoya. I was there for 12 years and it was pretty successful there, but you just never know. I mean, it just depends on the workforce and if they would be interested in participating, but it's.
Everything is something. I mean, if you got good employees, they recommend good, they're not gonna recommend bad. So it's definitely a good role.
Yeah, and it would only cost us money if somebody was referring us a good candidate. I think it'd be worth a try to have a policy for that. Number 4, moving on down, these are just some small things, just making sure people feel welcome. And I'm currently giving them a little gift package that I mentioned earlier from the insurance brokers, but I thought about maybe purchasing something that would have the county's logo on it to help them, start bonding with the county as an employee. Just a small gift, just a small token. I mean, people just seem so pleased when I hand them just what I'm giving them. And it's just a free little packet with goodies in it from the insurance broker, but that makes for a positive experience on someone's first day, and each department certainly needs to do all they can to make somebody feel valued and welcomed. And I thought about sending birthday cards. It takes a little bit of time to administer something like that, but think how nice it would be on your birthday if you got a birthday card signed by our commissioners.
We did that too. We started that a year and a half ago and we added anniversaries on.
Yeah, I've done both before.
Birthday card and your work anniversary and mail to your home. Your family saw it, you know, you just. And they see it and open it up and everyone sees it, and it makes people, they love that. That made a big difference in, only short time. Turnover, but it.
Also, on your incentive program, I've mentioned several times, for like, we had a hard time, we hire firefighters, they come here, we train them, we get educated a little bit. Then next county offers a few more dollars and they're gone. And I've always thought, of course, that's the chief, this budget, we figured out if it's profitable or not. I don't see why they're not offering them $3,500 incentive after your first year, or $2,500 after kind of like the hospital will do right now. They'll give you a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Really need nurses so young. And
With
but
the
if
step,
you don't stay, I think you have to pay. They come, you come here and get it 3 months in. You go, well, I'm getting to Texas. You don't get to keep.
So like a retention bonus.
But instead of giving this to them up front to come with us, and then they still go. It'd be nice if that, at least for the 911 EMS firefighter stuff that's really critical.
Yeah, those are the ones we're having the most.
Like service citizens. If there was a dollar amount that they thought, man, if I just stay here at least to the end of that year, I'm gonna get a little bonus that slows down new hire cycle. But I don't know, how that.
yeah, I mean, that can kind of be dealt with here in the education of the city. And plus on top of that, if you implement the pay scales, once they finish that, they gonna get a jump too.
Yeah.
So that's what.
That does have a thought, at the same time, you're hiring someone out, starting out at $9 to $10, $12 an hour, and we get them certified, we spend all that time and money into them. I don't know what that dollar amount totals. But in 4 months, they're going to another place. We're just training, so we're losing money.
Oh, I'm constantly hiring or terminating because there are lots of different steps involved with each of those things. And it's just, it's.
Hey, I might go here for $1 more an hour. If I stay here 4 more months, I'm gonna get this bonus. It may still be back to this bonus, but at least they stay longer.
Yeah.
Another thing to consider is for that training, we require them to stay a certain amount of time. We're gonna invest money in their training to better them as an employee, to better serve our citizens, then I think they should work for us for a certain amount of time. Now, if they want to work 2 years, 3 years, and then go on, well, that's fine, because you're going off to make yourself better. But I agree with you, they don't need to come in here, be trained by us, and then go somewhere else immediately, because it creates a self-sustaining problem. And if we can put something in place with a little bit of teeth to hold them here until they can get here and get in our environment and realize how good it really is, then we can.
Some of them do. It's available.
Different, once a couple of the departments.
Yeah.
I did get approval to do it, yeah, and an attorney wrote the document.
It was.
Yes.
Somebody. With,
I think the like assessors office, they actually take training. We got it in there. If we don't, we'll be sure it is. It needs to be. Yeah. we should.
Well, I think they also need to put something in place like volunteer firefighters. If they go complete the classes, we pay them while they at class, plus we pay them the classes. I think we get more volunteers, because now they have the training required by volunteers more often than it used to be.
It almost,
So they're not really volunteering.
it almost means what the full time. Yeah. So I guess, are there other ideas, other thoughts you guys have? I know we got ultimately, we got to bring all this stuff back together, and I think we can address, when we do that, we get the time, system in, the high scale system in, I think we address the various pays between departments, if you get one and all there, some of the other stuff will roll out as well, but if there's anything else you guys can think of, know that you feel like you need to do, please let us know. We want to try to solve it. It's not easy, but we think that I appreciate what the staff has done to put all this stuff together and included. And hopefully we can, make a difference.
And I appreciate all of you taking your time today to listen and have this meeting.
Yes, thank
Great
you.
information, great ideas, great presentations. I think we got, the only other thing, what we already talked about. Faster we can get an assistant or something, a lot of this. I appreciate you being willing to have your team be flexible to get in and do a lot of this stuff. But I think more than just that.
It was-
Once you get it rolling, you gotta maintain it.
You got to.
Yes.
You can't do that by yourself.
You gotta maintain it, because, you're gonna have all the employees, it's gonna change.
Yeah.
They're gonna get that step every year, but it's gotta go into the system too, so. And John, y'all probably could work that into what you have in scale of.
Yes, sir.
Work that into something where that's gonna make it easier for you guys to try to
Yeah.
calculate the.
For payroll, it will be.
Yeah, we could enter the steps and grades in the payroll system.
Very well, I think very well done. Good information, done great.
Matthew, you served recorded, had said a lot. You got anything, buddy, to add?
I don't think so. I think y'all covered it pretty well. If no one's got anything else to add, we have a motion to adjourn this work session. A motion by Commissioner Plant and seconded. Second by Commissioner Worsley. All in favor?
Yeah.
Enjoyed it.
We'll start the work.